What?
In space.
In space, everybody.
Welcome to the Deadlights podcast. I'm your host, Sam.
And I am Leslie, and we're bringing you another episode this week. Oh,
Woo.
yeah.
As we always do. Another dive into horror.
The
good, the bad, and the ugly. We see it all here.
Oh, yes, we do.
And this is a testament to one of the bad.
Mm.
One of the bad, which is okay. We set this for ourselves, choosing random movies out of the bucket, and sometimes the bucket wants us to watch a bad 80s movie.
Yeah, because then it really, truly makes you appreciate the good ones.
Very true. Very true.
Mm-hmm.
And this one that we just watched is Creature, a.k.a. The Titan Find, from 1985, directed by William Malone, written by William Malone and Alan Reed. After a member of a geological research team who was sent to Saturn's largest moon, Titan, crashes their spacecraft into a space station, another team is sent to Titan to investigate, not knowing the terror that awaits them.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So interesting movie. It kind of felt like like it was taking a lot of inspiration from a lot of different movies that were coming out around this time and decided to do its own version of it, but in a way worse way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
You know, I think when we watch movies like these that are, it looks like, inspired by other movies, it is a testament to how difficult it is to make a movie, and it makes you appreciate the cult classics because they've lived on for so many years and through different generations of people. And there's just that something in there that just works. And there's so many elements, but there's just that one thing, you know? And this movie had a lot of things, but there is just something missing.
Yes. The element that makes movies like Alien and Predator and 2001: A Space Odyssey, the thing that makes those movies great, it was missing that. And it wanted to be those movies so bad. Really wanted to be them.
So bad.
And I think you're right. Like, it is a testament for sure to, first of all, how hard it is to make a movie, but second of all, the influence that these other movies that have been successful, how powerful they are. And I think probably more often than not, there's bad movies that are made. And it really does take that certain something. And I think it's sometimes, more often than not, it's just a perfect storm. It's not even like checking off all the boxes. Sometimes when you make a good movie, it's almost by accident. So I think that this movie is a very, very good example of trying to recreate something that was great, but that doesn't always work. That does not always work.
No.
Because you don't have that luck or that secret ingredient that we can't put our finger on, you know?
Chemical X.
Chemical X. Yeah.
Do we know for sure that Alien came out first?
Yes.
It did?
I believe Alien came out in 1979. And so 6
Oh,
years
wow.
before this film. And we saw a lot of parallels. I mean, I think that almost in every category that we're about to talk about, there's an element of Alien in there. Them really trying hard to be Alien.
Hard.
And why don't we get into it?
Absolutely.
Let's jump into the can.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Give me the can, the filmmaking. I would say, in my opinion, probably of all the categories, has the strongest points.
I agree.
Because something that is successful in this movie, I would say, is the production design. It's the sets, the props, the costumes.
Yeah.
The lighting is pretty cool.
When it was used.
When it was used correctly and used at all. There are some pretty cool set pieces. I really always love the interiors of the ships and like people's interpretation of what the future looks like. And I think that the most successful parts of this movie were really in those sets and in the production design.
I agree. That's among the first few lines that I wrote down, is that the set design was just really fun. And like you said, the interpretation, I think, is what's really fun about these like sci-fi genre, is like, how do you think the world is gonna look like, or like Titan, a moon like of Saturn's, like how does Titan look like?
Mm-hmm. That it just looks fun to both shoot in and also be an actor in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I will say is like they were able to really immerse the actors in these sets and in the costumes to really like set them in these worlds. So I can imagine it's probably pretty fun to shoot a movie like this, because you get to wear all the cool suits and all that kind of stuff. And there were some really interesting moments when, light was coming off of gadgets and it was like casting on people's faces, and when they were looking out at some of the planets and there was like heavy oranges coming through the windows, and really heavy lights coming through like closed doors. Their use of production design and lighting and props and stuff was cool, but I do think it should be noted that almost everything that we saw looked like it was from a different movie. Like the suits looked like they were from 2001: Space Odyssey.
Yep.
The creature and how the lighting was so dark looked like Alien. So yes, it was cool, but still you could tell that they were pretty much just ripping off other movies.
I wonder with these like movies with heavy set designs, I wonder if they just lent some of those things to other productions.
Yeah.
It
kind of seems like they straight up just got the 2001 Space Odyssey suits.
Like, they borrowed them.
Yep.
Yeah, because that creature also just heavily influenced by Aliens.
Oh, for sure.
Heavily. Like the way that its head was, and like the slime coming out of its mouth.
And it had like the thing that controlled people was like the little suckers that would like go on the side of people's heads.
But they look different.
Yeah.
They just look like seaweed. Like, well,
so damn dark. I couldn't even tell what they look like.
Oh my gosh, this film
was dark.
So dark.
Yeah. At first I was like, okay, I think it's a stylistic choice. But by the end I was like, I can't see a single thing. Can't see a single. And I think it was because they were probably trying to hide things in the darkness, especially the creature. They were not giving us a very clear look at that creature.
None at all.
At all.
It was like,
when they did at the end, it was like, oof, now I understand why they were trying to hide
There's no man in this suit. This is an alien, okay?
It's an alien.
All right?
Yeah.
We tried our best here.
We tried. We wanted to be aliens so bad.
Well, in the can, I also want to mention the script writing.
Yep.
I always have lovely words to say. Yeah, I hated it.
Yeah. Bad.
Also, I gotta understand, unfortunately, the time period that it was. The women are just written so poorly. Yes, we had our final girl being this like smart gal.
3 moves, I'll have checkmate.
No way.
We'll see.
Which I enjoyed that, but also was like the bare minimum. It was a bare minimum.
Because by the end, she was not what we think of as a final girl in horror movies. It was the men that came in and were like, she was the bait, and she didn't do anything. They kind of built her up, like this smart, resourceful crew member, which I enjoyed that at the beginning. Like she was gonna like make this device using the different elements of the ship to then get them out of there. And I was like, oh, cool. She's going to be the savior at the end. But then when they involved her at the end, she was just like the damsel in distress. Yeah. Yep. They didn't do anything with her at all.
No, and that's how all the women were written.
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
You think we're gonna die?
No, we're not gonna die.
It's the fear of the unknown. It's natural.
I'm not coming back.
Of course you are. What are you talking about?
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, he's dead.
Like, yeah, and again, going back to like it trying to be like Alien. In that movie, we have a very strong female lead in Sigourney Weaver, Ripley, and she is, like they were trying to build up in this movie, she's resourceful, she's smart, she doesn't take shit from the men.
She's courageous. She's so strong.
They do a good job in that movie of, at the beginning, if you had never seen Alien before, she would kind of seem like just another one of the crew members. But by the end, she's the strongest one there, the smartest one. And I could see them trying to do that with Beth, who is the final girl in this movie. But then they just gave up on it. Like, they started her off being like a good chess player and a resourceful engineer. But then they just completely left that by the wayside and just let the men be the heroes.
I wonder if at some point within the production, they just decided, you know what? I don't think we can sell a movie with a female lead.
Which is silly because Alien was before this.
Or maybe they just didn't want to fully rip off Alien.
We can't be that similar. Come on, guys.
But also this movie, I just kept going back to Alien just because it's comparisons, but also just how successful Aliens was at all the elements that this one seemed to fall short in. And for sure, their characterizations of these people were, because in Aliens it seemed like, yes, you had all the douchebags and you still had all these like very hyper masculine people, but there was a tone to them that like you can tell the movie was trying to hone into just how ridiculous these characters can be.
And they die. And those characters end up being dead.
And then there's like an actual purpose to the creature. And in this one, I mean, yes, it wants to feed, but also it makes no sense.
Yeah. That's it. That's all it wants to do is just, there really was not a very good explanation as to, I mean, not really, actually in Alien, they do somewhat explain why they're going after this creature so hard. But in this movie, there really was no effort to do that, and really no effort to like explain where it came from, what it is. They didn't worry about any of that.
Nope.
And I know we are talking a lot about the movie Alien and Aliens, but, and I would usually want us not to bring in another movie so heavily
True.
to a review, but I think that this movie, they set themselves up for failure because they are making this movie that is so similar tonally, aesthetically to Alien and Aliens that we can't help but compare it. Like, they are putting themselves right next to it.
Yeah.
So they're doing themselves a disservice by making it so similar that we can't help but think about Alien the entire time we're watching this movie. So they really, I think, shot themselves in the foot in that way.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, let's get to the meat.
Let's get to it.
What they're trying to say, which I think is very surface. It's very surface. I mean, the one line I do kind of like that I think kind of sums up the message is when we come in contact with this German guy who is a huge creep. Hoffner. Just to explain a little bit, the United States of America and Germany are in this like space race to get to find resources on other planets, and Titan, for some reason, is the new planet that they want to go get a bunch of resources from.
I think it was because I think Titan for a second was led to believe that it was similar to Earth.
And there's maybe resources we can use.
Yeah.
And so at the beginning of the movie, there's an explanation that the United States and Germany are the two leaders of the space race, and they're trying to get one up on each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Germans and we have Americans kind of roaming around on Titan. And Hoffner is a German whose crew is all dead from this creature killing them. And he wanders onto their ship and really just creeps everybody out. And he's like, let me explain everything to you. Actually, maybe I shouldn't. He's like the worst character ever. He doesn't do shit.
Nothing.
I know something you don't. I've seen what it is you're up against. I shouldn't tell you. But then, yes, why not? If we are all friends, we found someone's collection of life from all over the galaxy, like a child's butterfly collection. Only that some of these butterflies are not so friendly.
When we talk about space race movies and we talk about man going into space movies, and this is the same in Alien, it's a lot about man trying to control things that they think will give them power. And then in the end, they go way too far and they are meddling with forces that they have no idea what they are and turn out to be way more powerful than them. And especially in this movie, when it's like Germans versus America, this is very clearly like a man versus man race, one trying to get one up on the other.
Which is always something that we've done, you know.
Who's gonna have more power? Who's gonna be more powerful? And that's what all these expeditions were about.
How about no one? How about let's all work together because we're all in this damn planet together.
One by one of my guys died, killed by something that had waited for them 2,000 centuries.
What I was going to also add to your comment about what Hoffner said. Hoffner?
Hoffner. It is Hoffner.
It is Hoffner?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that, you know, I'm hoping I never get the chance to have to survive the way that they did in this movie. I don't know if that's a really nice thing to say, but like, to survive in those kind of circumstances, you never know what you're going to have to do in order to be safe. And there's a lot of sacrifices that need to be made, perhaps some selfishness, because our instinct is going to kick in and all we have to do is survive. So you might have to put your life above others. So that could lead to some perhaps terrible people ending up in like Hoffner and this alien. Perhaps are they just the worst of who survived?
Mm-hmm. The people who have no morals.
Exactly.
Like that, the ones that we hate are the ones that, or the ones that are most animalistic. Are the ones that end up surviving.
And
that's kind of a scary element of it.
Yeah,
when
and
you're in that situation.
Basically, these apocalyptic shows and movies, that's a lot of their messages. You know, is that like one show that I watched for the first couple of seasons and then I stopped. But like The Walking Dead, it was very much that. Is yes, we're terrified of the zombies, we're terrified of the creatures, but it's humanity that is the most scary because that's unpredictable. We at least can learn the creature and be like, oh, okay, this is what it wants and this is how it's going to get it. But then the humans are going to do everything possible to backstab you and get whatever they need.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the end, the creature in this movie, I mean, it's not good or bad. It's a creature that just needs to feed.
It just needs to feed.
Yeah. So you're right. Like, we can't really blame that creature for doing what it was born to do. We got to go back and blame man for going to this planet in the first place, trying to use the planet for their own gain.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what happens. This is what happens. It's a cautionary tale for sure.
What we found is great evil. That thing is using it for food.
What do you mean?
What I'm talking about, it's using our own man to kill each other.
I don't know if this was intentional or not, or if this is me just stretching my mind to like give them more credit. There is an element of the creature that like puts these like little like mind control things on people, and that's kind of its way to like bait other humans to it so it could then eat it, which I thought that was kind of an interesting visual in the way of like, oh, it's actually man destroying themselves. You know, it's using the crew members to kill the other crew members, which goes back to what we were just talking about before in this like race for power. The thing that is going to destroy man is themselves. Again, I don't know if I'm giving them too much credit as far as that visual tie, but I thought it was kind of interesting that the alien used the crew members to bait everyone else out into it eating them.
Yeah.
Now how successful that's conveyed, let's get to the cook.
Let's get to it.
And because yes, these are elements that we see in a lot of space and zombie apocalyptic movies, but they didn't really go beyond that to like say anything about it. That was just kind of the setup of the movie, and then the rest of the movie is us just having to watch these horrible characters that we don't give a shit about die off.
At one point, I did say I feel the length of this movie.
Absolutely.
It was dragging on, and I was becoming sleepy.
Yeah.
I had to make popcorn because I had to like be doing something.
Yeah. I think they really like. One of my biggest problems of this movie was actually the pacing of it, like the editing and the dialogue scenes. It felt so slow. Like even the scenes where they were trying to build tension, they were not doing it successfully. Like they were holding on shots for way too long. They were showing us things that we didn't need to see, and they were relying, I think, too much on the music to try to make tension rather than the actual filmmaking. They were trying to force tension, or they're trying to force it to be scary, which made it so much not scary and just boring. Like it really, like there were so many parts of this movie where I'm like, walk faster, please. Please just walk faster. Cut away, please. This is so boring. Like it was
so bad.
Yeah. And then on top of it, we're getting really bad soap opera-esque dialogue scenes.
Why don't you sit on it? You sit on it.
Drugs. Heavy sedatives, mostly.
What did she want those for?
Oh, you've got me.
Bryce is in her room. I don't know where Perkins is.
Where are you?
Like we didn't care. Like you were saying before, it's like we didn't care about these people. They did nothing to make us care about them. The final girl was like the most effort that they put into building a character, with her having like that chess scene at the beginning, and then her being the one who can use elements from the ship to make something else. Like they did try-ish to build her character up, but then they didn't do anything with that. So she just became another damsel in distress. And it was the dudes that came in and saved the day.
It was so frustrating.
Yeah.
And that I'm not gonna mention it, but there was another movie that we've talked about.
You can guess.
And like we are humans. We are going to feel attraction and love and stuff. But how cool would it be if it was just kind of teased? You know, just not even fully have the characters kiss or anything, because there's higher stakes. There's a monster in the ship. I have no time to be fucking anybody. I need to kill the damn thing. You know, like it just, and then the logic is just not there, and then it's all just so poppery.
And like at the end too, when they like, it's of course like the fake out. They think they kill the creature, and they're laughing.
All right, let's get the hell out of here.
And there's like all your entire crew is dead. You would not be laughing in this moment. It was just so like up and down with the emotions. There was no smooth transitions between things as far as emotional arcs. And I don't think there was any emotional arcs just in general. It was boring.
It so boring.
It really was boring.
It just was so easy to read.
Yeah.
And what was going to happen. There was nothing surprising, fun. Nope. Just like we mentioned, it was just everything that we've seen before, but put together in a very slow, boring way.
Yeah, and like at the beginning it was keeping me in there because of the production design and because of the visual things that we were seeing, but that only took us so far. Like at a certain point we knew what the sets looked like, we knew what the ship looked like, we knew what the suits looked like, and then we were left with these shitty characters. So I would say like the first half of the movie I was still in it just because I was like enjoying the actual like aesthetics of the movie, and then once that set in I just got bored.
You know what else was really cool? It was the special effects.
Yes.
With the head being blown off.
Yep.
That was fun. With the faces peeling.
That was great.
Towards the end. Those were really cool.
Yeah.
Like almost The Thing cool.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was just like, where the fuck were these the whole time?
That was my thought.
Why did you, like, if you had nothing else, if you were going to make this film so fucking dark and save money that way, invest all of it towards the special effects, because that was successful.
For sure. Yeah. And even when we saw that, all those really cool practical effects were, I think, within probably like a 10-minute period of the movie. Like they really packed them in one section.
Yeah.
And then I was like, these are great. These are awesome. And now they're gone. They just left those by the wayside too. They just didn't know. They just didn't understand what was going to keep us invested in the movie. And unfortunately, they went for the story, which there was very
little of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't cook this thing at all. They didn't cook the right parts, at least. They cooked They cooked the production design, which is you need that obviously with a space movie. But they didn't spend enough time cooking the characters or the story, the arcs. There was no catharsis. I don't think any of these characters changed. And then it just ends. It really just like they fly off and it ends.
Well, I was really glad that it ended.
I mean, yes, I was glad to see the credits rolling. But like there was no like even like, oh, maybe the alien survived. Nope. It was just like, we're done.
Yep. They were just like, yeah, let's go home.
Are we having fun yet?
Ask me that later.
Your crew is all dead. Everyone's dead. You're probably going to be processing this trauma for the next couple of years.
I ain't thinking about boning. I'm not thinking about boning right now.
I mean, you know, everybody processes different.
Fair.
But all...
Careful. Oh.
Yeah. Just bad.
Just bad. Just bad. Last thing I wanted to say in The Cook was I think this movie This movie, I think, might have set a record within the Deadlights podcast movies of the most amount of times people say hi.
Hi, Doc.
Hi.
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 Well, hello, Slater.
Hi.
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 Hi. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hi. Hello. It's just like,
You don't need to start a scene like that. You don't need to. You're on the same ship.
well, this is the reason why the script sucks. Is because they had several moments in where they were all in the same ship. We've established that we've been here, presumably is the same goddamn day. You're not just going to go into a room and be like, hey.
Hi. I haven't
Hi.
seen you in 5 minutes. Wow. Hi.
Hello.
Wow.
What the fuck?
It was so weird.
So
And again,
cheap.
it was cheap and it took time. It took time for them to greet each other. I'm
And-
like, why are we doing that?
And money, because it was like a shot of you saying hi, a shot of me saying hi, and then back to you saying hello. Like, why?
If they would have cut out all the greeting moments in this film, we might have had about a 30-minute film, which is maybe why they added them in or kept them in.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right. Bye to the cook. Let's get to the thrill. Let's get to the thrill of this thing. Here we go. So let's talk about the creature, I guess, because that is what we're dealing with. This alien. Bad. It's a guy. It's a guy in a suit. Like, well, we already talked about how it looks like the alien in Alien, and then when we see it, it's just a dude in a suit, and it also moves so fucking slow. Why are you Why are you moving in slow motion?
Why are you scared? Why are you scared?
I wasn't. Yeah, why are these people on the cruise
They're
scared?
like,
Just walk away.
It's like you got 10 minutes before it gets to where you were.
Yeah.
Like you're fine.
Yeah, you're so fine. You're so fine.
No, it was terrible.
Yeah, it was not a good creature. And then it used the, kind of already talked about it, used the other humans and as bait. And those were some cool moments, with like the makeup and the German guy's like face melting. I thought was pretty cool
great.
looking. And we kind of talked about these other practical moments of like the guy's face getting ripped off.
Yeah.
And the heads falling off. Those were cool moments. But then when we actually saw the creature, ooh bad. Ooh bad.
Ooh, bad.
Uber bad.
They
Like the
was
German guy would say.
we had so many close-ups too of when it was feeding.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like trying to make that snarled noise that Alien did too. In that movie Alien.
In the film Alien, yes.
Yeah, that was successful.
Yeah.
And it just, it just looked too much like it. And it was so bad.
You look like a puppet. It really. And again, I don't necessarily like us bringing another film into a review of a film, but you are really making it hard for us not to compare these things.
It literally had a dome, like that curvature head with no eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
Similar, like silver kind of like teeth.
And like the dripping drool.
The dripping drool. It was completely black, like that shiny, like shell, like a bug, wet.
Mm-hmm. Makes webs for some reason.
I was so bothered. I mentioned it several times. There were so many spider webs that made no sense. There's no spiders in space.
And it didn't even use the webs right. Like, we saw bodies that were already dead kind of in webs. But then at the end, when it was using Beth as bait, it didn't even put her in a web. It like hung her by
Upside
her
down.
feet and like a pole or something.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, it was just non-logical.
I just hated it.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. Like, the little rules of the alien, of the creature that it set up, it didn't even follow through with.
Yeah.
So I don't know. as far as the thrill goes, and I already kind of mentioned it, they didn't know how to build tension. Like, this movie actually was edited way too slow, and it didn't understand how to make a scene tense, so we couldn't get scared.
Done. What?
All right, let's get to the ride.
Yep.
Nice.
Is this going to be our shortest episode of all time?
It could be. It could be. We're already at the ride.
I feel like we've only talked for 25 minutes.
Maybe, which, sorry, but it might only deserve that much. We're having mercy on you, listener or viewer. This movie did not have mercy on us. This movie felt fucking slow. And you already said we felt the runtime, which is never a good thing to feel in a movie.
No.
We were just like, is it over? Is it over? And then when it was over, it was not even like...
It wasn't satisfying.
It wasn't satisfying. Like, I thought they were going to like... Because at the end, they have Bryce turn up again after we don't see her for a really long time.
That's so true.
And she blows up the alien at the end. Woohoo. Killed it. And I thought they were going to do a thing of like just teasing at, oh, wait, is she like taken over by the alien too?
Yeah.
And they even have a moment of like,
You're gone a long time.
I got lost.
and then that was like, they didn't like have a shot of like a little like alien on the back of her head. They just flew off. And so we're good. Great.
I got
Go
lost. Is so lazy.
Yeah.
So boring.
Boring. She got lost?
Is that the joke? Because she's supposed to be this robot, quote unquote, that she got lost.
It was a joke. The movie was
I didn't fucking laugh.
No, it was a joke. Maybe not intentional, but it was a joke. Slog. I would say this movie was a slog to get through.
Set up nothing. Nothing. But failure. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, at
No,
least
not
we know
kidding.
that they're not coming back with a second one because there was no setup for a second one. So thank you for that. Thank you
Yeah.
for not having a second film.
Maybe they knew. They're like, oh, this one's not going to be.
You know what? We were going to set up that maybe there's a little alien on board, but fuck it. Cut that. We're not doing a second one. Creature. 1985. Wow.
Wow.
We don't, I mean, I'm trying to think back to season 1 and season 2. I feel like we didn't get like a really bad movie until like at least a couple episodes in. Season 3, we're starting off with a bad one. I mean, the first movie, Synchronic, good.
Yeah. Yeah, good. This one.
We're also starting off with 2 sci-fi movies, which, if we're comparing the 2 sci-fi movies so far, I think Synchronic was much more successful.
Yeah.
I actually cared about those characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, also, like, I kind of cared about the world, too. They had set up this really cool world in which you can see how, like we mentioned in the episode, go and watch it, could be scary. Those
Yeah.
elements are scary.
I was way more tense in that film.
This, I can take that creature anytime. Anytime. You, creature, I'm talking to you right now. Wherever you're at, fucking call me, and we're gonna settle this right now.
All you have to do is walk away. 'Cause
Exactly.
It doesn't move fast.
Just
at
keep
all.
walking.
Just walk. Just walk away. Turn around. Walk away. You'll be fine. You will survive. Creature, 1985. Let's get to these Smash Pumpkins.
Yeah. Do you have a number?
I think I do. Yeah, I do.
I think I do too.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah, go first.
Really, the only redeeming thing in this film is the production design. It's the costumes, it's the sets. I really got to hand it to those artists for like building out those worlds because that was the only thing that was really keeping me in this film was looking at it and how it was lit. And it was, really
Right.
dark at times, but it was at least giving me interesting lighting plots and interesting sets to look at. So that was the most successful thing in this film. I can't even really give it to like the meat because it didn't really say anything about like the space race. That was just the background. So for the fact of them making a film and the production design, I'm going to give it, even this seems too much, but I'll give it a 1. I'll give it a 1. And that seems like stretching it a little.
I was going to give it a 2 because I felt bad for giving it a 1.5.
Yikes.
So I'm going to stick with 1.5.
Cool.
For the very same reasons. I like the prosthetics or the special effects and the props, costumes and sets. That's it.
That's where it stops.
That's where it stops. They should have never talked. They should have sped it up. This should have been a short film.
Yeah.
And then maybe it would have been a little more successful. But I don't know if they made short films during this time.
Well, no matter what, something that we keep going back to is it was a movie that was trying to be other movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is a very good example of why that can be so unsuccessful. And that was the main reason. I mean, maybe if Alien never existed and this was our only, view of this kind of story, maybe we would have liked it a little bit more. But they just set themselves up for failure in the way of trying to be other films. And that I firmly believe that art should be inspired by other art, and you should take elements of art that you like and incorporate that in your art. But when you are trying to just be another piece of art, it's just divisive. It's lazy. And ultimately we just want to see
The other movie.
We really do.
I'm glad that you mentioned about, you can definitely draw inspiration. You can. It should be encouraged because that's what art is. We are all just cycling through everything that we are consuming. We're just a bunch of consumers. And obviously you're going to get influenced. You cannot just make true 100% original art. And that's not sad.
No.
It shouldn't be taken very negatively, but just give it a flair. Give it your own voice and trust it.
Yep. This movie did not do that.
No.
This movie did not do that.
Did not did it.
No.
Hence why we only gave it a 1 and a 1.5.
Yeah. Let's put this creature to bed. Shall we?
Goodbye.
Goodbye, creature. You stay on Titan.
Yeah, goodbye.
Yeah. So, well, let's see what we're gonna see next week. Let's pull something from the bucket. It's your turn.
It is
I would like to apologize because I pulled out creature last week. Sorry.
Okay, I am
Ooh, really mixing it up.
teasing. Is this ASMR?
Ooh,
Ooh,
big
a
one.
fatty.
Fat one. Cool.
I don't know why I'm so excited. All right. It's mostly fat because of all the people that worked on it. Juliet Mills plays a young pregnant woman in San Francisco who is going to have the devil's baby during her strange possession. Richard Johnson shows up to help her. But what does he really want?
I don't know.
It's from 1974.
Going to the 70s.
And there's so many names here.
So many writers, and I'm sure.
Beyond the Door.
Beyond the Door. Pretty classic. This is a film that is definitely in the horror lore.
Beyond the door.
Beyond the door, in the lore.
Is it that poster that's like black and white and there's like a head there?
There's definitely a head in this poster. I think it's like...
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then I've come across it when we were doing stuff for trivia.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
All right.
This one spurred a couple sequels too, so
Oh.
we'll be throwing those in after we review it next time.
All right.
But until then, let's get out of here, huh?
Absolutely. You can call us, leave us a cool story for us to review. Review. Yeah,
We'll review your story.
We'll judge your stories.
One.
That'll give you incentive to send one.
I don't like it. It was divisive.
It sounded like every other story. But no, you guys can definitely call us, text us at 773-669-6677. And you can find me at Color Me Leslie on Instagram.
And me at Beep Beep Richie T. And you can find us at the Deadlights Pod.
Yes.
But until next time,
Let's get spooky. Ooh.
We wish we were aliens so bad.
Oh man.
I wanna be an alien,
I'm
please.
just hungry.
I'm hungry.